Ngambulo lukula with whatever we do. Jioni safu nola with whatever we do. Hale yide munyu skula nyepamne ne kudlukula nyepangiragala gena nyepamne ne kudlukula ibuloke nungoto ni beti sola ibuloke dato ni betoto
Bengi Congo
Lamin
na
Lamin te jibe norin te nyame Lamin
kabona
wulo kono nyinte mo Lamin
pabilenki
muna ngata afongole
haina
ngata ngoto le Fabrama
Bengi baba nyole
no ngoto Fabrama
no dumara kan ku
Fabrama
dumara mu
ndele bare muso
Lunda Jamani bere
Alindo ko
jamani
bari ngoto man kontande
bari jamani fana na rabudu wala man kontan
ngoto minaka ngala min je fon filitala Lamin jibe nori nyaala
Lamin ila siran sama ne benki kala so tol sayni no ko mo lokko momo
ngoto
nam
itedinte yalo ne Lamin hakkilo diata bake karamu ngoto anu santeng ministry ko di ngole si suwo ko amake ko do holi
sibitu
bago na ringa
alani ko kede namo balo
alani na ko na karta bulo be damna alani je
ngoto
nam
ngoto mon kontan feren
jamani mu ne keda
ko no nyintay mon ko tente sila la be la moy kala karango
jamani karamol be soron ne ko fasita wulo ko nako
karambugol ma soron ni ko karambugol soron da amake comme holiday lem ngoto dini ngo nyanta sila la ala karango la moy yamen kaben fue man kontan andamande
Allah nyin kombo kurang ada ndal kombo len do la jan karamol le soron do kabe kurang ma do la kombo e don dol fana na karamol soron je karamol soron Lamin ada lo nyino la aman tara fe na sokon ala mu nekela
Lamin ite foyde malon ko lesinol be ke kar radio to
nga fine
e ko yana di mod Lamin ya mu na fonye
bir kabe mina kan tambita nteri maning Fatu tambite la sukala ala dinngol bebe siri be la moy ka
Fatou danso am fana tambita jele ni su ngaje dinngol be jet talanta nen kili warol e be seri jelen
sa Lamin fanante ku kili wo ke no la ba Lamin bitaka wulo ko no nyin taymo Lamin
aman dara fenela
ite dine ko ni man si yakari lesuno la moy radio to balon na
mu ne ka ke afonye ma nyara ni alon
ngelentel jikot
afonye ma mu ne be ke
ite balon tel be jikritel ni man karambe ku kele yaje nata karana mbasa malaya ay tarije
par ñarande kombo courant findira kombo ite nara yede ni sonka bay ko Lamin manya tala wulo ko adu karam mo be so dafa ñembe be
ko to wole nati bawo ngalle ni Lamin kuntal ko courant o ka fa me kombo courant asototal wala kinay ko e si suwo kono bari ni ko e si suwo kono be karangol dike la radio lin telel to hani tele masoto to nyaay man tele soto la bungo bar radio be bulen ko to batiri sanga ay si ay alamo
sa do kala
nyaadi ko ta o bulaji
ado kala nyaadi
kamun ke nyaadi
radio abo la mo la be mona falaje
ibe la karandirol kala jele
ti jalle be radio ko men da karande
ila subject do baby jele baby jele
wala nanga coco moy fa dan so wolya ngombe tambi kana ngadi ningol jebe ikadum bungo ko kada mar mo
asototal de
Lamin mala be karawala de
bari
laftalal ideal on ko inde every year second wala fourth
muna ni ko folle sinina ba ndele sinilo na ba
mba foke en koto wole fango ye mulindi yalo famo keta bat ñu fam bulata ko ko don me yen nati jambi Lamin nyanta karana ndel beji ko be nyine ka ya bulay kara wulo kana ta kilar ya bambalo yo be bulaje koto dinni ngoy si ayala le sino la moy radio
wala ka munda karam mo man so Lamin nyanta kara si so na radio
la sila le ayala le sino
ndal ko na ko smolon
kilar ya
be ko mo sa mbi do ni fara
mengi bruzo
ndal ko la da ba rosa no radio ba no bari woro radio ni abe jele ba do ngamra do man dembe buljan dala nyara nyar do ko fendi mo la Lamin tayra ba rosa
ku folo aji orinya Lamin tamete ku
mengi mun na re
teku
bari ko do famo ke
ja image nañu ñambol si zol le ke je kisgi man si zol ndol le kafun ka ñowa bari ñambu kino li mañana ka finde ni nam do so la ja ni nam do ko do so la ja
ngalle limbeta de be ñambo do dilanna
ñara ni ko rin fenat ñara nata
ko to famo ke da
ngata bungono tabi bungono ñara ngando ko ken war nga nañu pelo la di jak
iyo awa betar la ko
bismillah bisu diara
pendulala ye fongo tanka sina dolu tanka koro ta koro
Yeah. Hello, viewers and listeners. Welcome yet to another math lesson for the upper basic. Now, before we go on to today's lesson, let's go back to do the corrections of the assignment that I left with you the last time. I left with you with 2 questions to try. Now, number 1 was, Kadi is 3 times as old as Ibrahim. If the sum of their ages is 48, find the age of each, right? Now again, we have 2 people whose age we don't know, but we know that the sum of their ages is 48. That is an information we are given in the question. But also we know that Kadi is 3 times as old as Ibrahim. So Kadi's age is given in. So therefore we're going to start from Ibrahim. And if we do that, to number 1, let Ibrahim's age be X. And what we are told is that Kadi is 3 times as old as Ibrahim. So therefore, if Ibrahim is X years old, Kadi would be 3 times X, and that is 3X. So Ibrahim is X years old, and Kadi is 3X years old. Also, we know that the sum of their ages is 48. That is, if you add Ibrahim's age and Kadi's age, you get 48. So Ibrahim is X plus Kadi is 3X, and that should give us 48. Right. Now, if you simplify this further, what you get is X plus 3X should give us 4X is equal to 48. Okay? Now, from there, if we divide both sides by 4, what you get is 4 will cancel 4 out from the left-hand side, and now you have X there as 4 into itself would be 1s, and 4 into 48 would be 12 times. So X is 12, and we know X is the age of Ibrahim, which means, therefore, Ibrahim is just 12 years old. That's what it means, all right? And Kadi, who is 3X, and 3X we know is 3 times X, and that is 3 times 12, because the value for X is 12, okay? And if you multiply 3 by 12, you should get 36 years. So Kadi's is 36 years, and Ibrahim is 12 years. And of course, as a proof, if you add Ibrahim's age, which is 12, and Kadi's age, which is 36, that should give you 48. And that is what we were told in the question, that the sum of their ages is 48. Then we move back and look at number 2. Abdu is 9 years older than Bambo. If the sum of their ages is 59, find the age of each. Again, we have 2 people, Abdu and Bambo. We know that the sum of their ages is 59. That means if you add Abdu's age plus Bambo's age, you get 59. But also, we know Abdu is 9 years older than Bambo, so Abdu's age is given in reference to Bambo. So therefore, we're going to start with Bambo. We can to get space to write on. So therefore, we start with Bambo. So you can say for number 2, let Bambo be Y years old. And we know Abdu is is addition. So therefore, Abdu would be y plus 9. That's 9 years older. All right? And we are told the sum of their ages is 59. That is, if you add Bambo's age and Abdu's age, you get 59 as your sum. So Bambo is y plus Abdu is y plus 9. And that should give us 59. From there, we can simplify this. Of course, y plus y should give us 2y plus 9 is equals to 59. From there, we just solve this. First, undo the 9. The 9 is positive, so subtract 9 from both sides. Minus 9, minus 9. The 9s will cancel out, and what you get is 2y here being equals to 59 minus 9 should give us 50. And from there, if you want to find the value for y, you simply divide both sides by 2, so that 2 will cancel out 2, and you have y as 2 into itself once, 2 into 50 would be 25 times. But we know y is the age of Bambo. So therefore, we can say Bambo is 25 years old. And who is 9 years older would be 25 plus 9, and that should give us 34 years. That is Abdu's age. So Bambo is 25 years old, and Abdu is 34 years old. Now, that was the corrections for the assignment. I hope those were the numbers you came up with. If you did, that was job well done. So then, we move along to our today's lesson. And today, we are looking at what we call angles. I'm sure this is a word that you must have come across many, many times. Angles, all right? Now, let's try to look at what an angle is, all right? First, an angle is the amount of turn about a fixed point, all right? An angle is the amount of turn about a fixed point, or because it is a turn about a fixed point, we can say it is just the amount of rotation, all right? Now, for example, you could be standing at a position like this, facing, let's say, to the east, okay? But actually, you can still stand at the same position and change your direction away from the east, okay? So that turn, which you have done from where you are facing, right down to where you are now facing, that amount of turn that you have done there is called an angle. That is why we say an angle is the amount of turn about the fixed point, because you can see, although I have changed the direction of where I'm facing, but I'm still standing in position, and that's important, all right? So it's the amount of turn about a fixed point. You can stand at one point, face a particular direction, and keep standing at the same point, turn and face a different direction. The amount of turn that you have done there will be an angle. Now, an angle is formed by the intersection of two straight lines. Now, that answers the question, how is an angle formed? So, for an angle to be formed, two straight lines must intersect, or two straight lines must meet. It's only when two straight lines meet that an angle is formed. Like you can see here, for example, this is a straight line, and that is another straight line, and they meet at a particular point. Have two straight lines meeting at a particular point, therefore an angle is formed there. Okay? Even if I have, let's say, a line from the north and a line from the east, if they meet eventually, wherever they meet, there will be an angle formed there. So an angle is formed when two straight lines meet. That is how an angle is formed. Now we move along. You know, we have already said that an angle is formed when two straight lines meet. Now, the two lines that intersect or that meet to form an angle, you can either call them arms or you can call them rays. And the point where they meet to form the angle is the vertex. Right? So, if I have this line and another line, those two lines that have met to form this particular angle, those two lines, you can either call them arms or you can call them rays. And of course, they met at a particular point. And that point where they intersected or where they met is called the vertex. Okay? You can see it here. Now, if you want to measure an angle, I know we are comfortable with measuring lines where we simply use the ruler. But because an angle is the amount of turn, so it is not a straight line. So therefore, you cannot use a ruler to measure an angle. All right? A ruler cannot be used to measure an angle. We use what we call the protractor. Right? We use a protractor to measure an angle. Now, if you look at the mathematics set box, which most of you have, inside that set box, one of the materials you have there is a semicircular object, half a circle. It is numbered 0 to 180 from both sides. That is what you call a protractor. If you are watching, you can see an example here. This is exactly what a protractor is. It's a semicircular object. It's numbered from both ends, 0 to 180 from the left-hand side and 0 to 180 from the right-hand side. That is what you call a protractor, and that is what. Now, the unit of is the degree. So when you measure an angle, the unit is degree. For example, if I measure an angle and I get 45, I will say 45 degrees. But how do you write 45 degrees? A degree, you just use a small zero just after the last number, a bit on top, all right? Degree. So this is read as 45 degrees. So the unit for an angle is the degree. Whenever you measure an angle, your answer should be given in degrees all the time. Now, let's look at how we can name angles. Generally, we use 3 letters to name an angle, although sometimes you can choose to use 1, but most times we use 3 letters. And if you are using 3 letters to name an angle, actually you can use or you can choose any 3 letters of the alphabet. All right? You can choose A, B, C if you want. You can choose X, Y, Z if you want. You can use P, Q, R if you want. All right? You can choose any 3 letters of the alphabet, but use their capitals. So if you use A, B, and C, it has to be capital A, capital B, and capital C. If you use X, Y, Z, it must be capital X, capital Y, and capital Z. Now, for example here, where I have this angle here, and I've used alphabets, A, B, and C, and that is this inside angle that I have here. I can either name this as A, B, C, or CBA. Now, what you notice is that ABC and CBA, the B is maintaining its that the letter at the vertex, and that is where the angle is formed. Right? So you can interchange the other letters, but then the vertex letter maintains its position. And you can see there's a small curve like a V overtone on top of V. On top of B, rather, it indicates that B is the vertex of this angle, and also the angle is formed at B. So ABC or CA are the same angle. The second example also where I have used X, Y, Z, still you can name this as X, Y, Z, or Z, Y, X. Again, still what you notice is that the Y is not changing position because the Y is the letter at the vertex or where the angle is formed. So that one cannot change position. Again, I use that symbol on top of it to indicate that that is the vertex, all right? You could use many examples. Even if I had an angle like that, I could use P, Q, R. That's an angle. And you can either name this as P, Q, R, or R, Q, P. I can interchange the P and the R, but the Q cannot be interchanged because the Q is the vertex, and the Q is where the angle is formed. But I did say that if you want, you can just use a single letter. Like, I can have an angle like this. Those are my rays, of course. And I want to name this angle just with one letter. I can just choose any small letter of the alphabet and use it. I can just put here X. And this, I can read this as angle X, or I can just write X with this. You read this as angle X. All right? Now, let's try to name angles. You know, some angles are small, some are very small, some are big, and some are very big. Now, based on their size, how big or small they are, we can classify them, okay? Or we can name them. Now, when naming them, actually we use three angles as our reference here. They are going to refer to 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and the 360 degrees, all right? Those are angles you'll be hearing quite a lot about. Now, the first one we have is the acute angle. And the acute angles are the smallest angles available. Now, we say this is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. So any angle that measures less than 90 degrees is called an acute angle. So write down from 0 degrees up to 89.9 degrees. All the angles there are acute. So any angle that is less than 90 degrees is an acute angle. All right? You can have examples. You can have 3 degrees. It's acute. You can have 50 degrees. It's acute. You can have 69 degrees. And you can have so many numbers there, or so many angles that are acute. So any angle that is less than 90 degrees, we know is an acute angle. And of course, this diagram shows you, you see, that is a small angle there. All right? That is an acute angle, because if you were to measure this, you will get a number less than 90 degrees. Then, the next angle is the right angle. Now, this is an angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. Exactly. So a right angle is an angle that measures exactly 90 degrees, nothing more and nothing less. And the diagram for it is unique. It is the only angle that is represented by this box. So anytime you see an angle and there is this box there, that box always indicates 90 degrees. So anytime you see an angle like that, you know it is a right angled triangle. So a right angled triangle is a triangle that measures exactly 90 degrees. Now moving along, the next angle after the 90 degrees, remember them by their size. The smallest we know is the acute. The next is the right angle. Then the next one after the right angle is the obtuse angle. We say this is an angle that measures more than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. More than is more than, but less than 180 degrees. So therefore, any angle from 91 degrees right down to 179.9. Actually, you can have even smaller ones. You can have 90.1, 90.2. So any angle that is more than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees is classified as an obtuse angle. And this diagram can help you. You can see clearly that this is more than the right angle we have previously. And if you were to measure this, although it's more than 90 degrees, but it is going to give you a number that is also less than 180 degrees. And that is an obtuse angle. It's an angle that measures more than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. Then now you move along to what we call the straight line angle, or the straight angle. You say this is an angle that measures exactly 180 degrees. All right? It's an angle that measures exactly 180 degrees. Now, I don't know if you can see any connection between the straight line angle and the right angle. Obviously, there is a connection there because the right angle is exactly 90 degrees. The straight line angle is exactly 180 degrees. What does that tell you? Simply means two right angles give you a straight line angle. Or put the other way, half a straight angle will give you a right angle. So they have a connection, okay? And that will be a diagram to show you. It's just a straight line. It's an angle on a straight line. It is exactly 180 degrees. Then moving along to the biggest angle, and that is the reflex angle. Okay? The reflex angle. You see, this is an angle that measures more than 180 degrees, but less than 360 degrees. All right? So this reflex angle is more than a straight angle. It's more than 180 degrees, but it's less than 360 degrees. 360 degrees is a complete turn, which you can call a revolution, all right? And that could be a diagram. You can see the diagram looks similar to the angle, but we are taking the bigger angle outside, because the inner angle here would be acute, because that angle there is definitely less than 90. But if you take the outer angle here, that angle is more than 180, but less than 360. So that outer angle here would be a reflex angle. Now, it means any angle, for example, 269 degrees. You can see that that angle is more than 180, but less than 360. So it's a reflex angle. Even if I have 185, again, that angle is more than 180, but less than 360 degrees. Again, it is reflex. Or even 359 will still fall under the category of angle, because it is still more than 180, but less than 360 degrees. So those are the angles we have based on their size. Alright, you have the acute, that's the smallest, less than 90 degrees. You have the right, which is exactly 90 degrees. You have the obtuse, which is more than a right angle, but less than 180 degrees. You have the straight line angle, which is exactly 180 degrees. And then you have the reflex, which is more than a straight line angle, but less than a revolution. That is more than 180 degrees, but less than 360 degrees. Now, let's see if you can answer this quickly. It says, which of the following angles is an obtuse angle? Is it A, 56 degrees, or B, 102 degrees, C, 200 degrees, or is it D, 180 degrees? Which of these here is obtuse? Of course, first we need to know what an obtuse angle is, and we know from our definitions that obtuse angles are more than 90 degrees, but less than 180. So 56 will not qualify because it's less than 90, so it's out. 102, that angle is more than 90 degrees, yes. But is it less than 180? Yes, it is. So definitely that will qualify obtuse. How about 200? 200 will not qualify because it's more than 180. 180 as well will not qualify because our angle needs to be less than 180. So the only angle here that is obtuse is the 102 degrees. Quickly, which of the following angles is reflex? 5, 167, 201, and the last angle we have there is 180. Again, we know reflex angles be more than 180 degrees, but less than 360. So A, which is 25 degrees, will not qualify because it's even less than 90, so that's out. 167 for B is also out because it's less than 180. 201 will qualify because it's more than 180, but less than 360. So C will qualify. How about D, 180, will not qualify because it is not more than 180. So the only correct answer here would be C, degrees. And then finally, what kind of angle is the angle 100 degrees? Where do you classify it? Is it obtuse, is it reflex, or is it straight line? Obviously, 100 degrees is more than 90 degrees, so it cannot be acute. But how about obtuse? Obtuse angles are more than 90 but less than 180. So definitely 100 degrees is an obtuse angle. So B would work here. Now, with that, we come to the end of today's lesson. And when we meet again, we will pick up from there. In the meantime, try to stay safe at home. Thank you.